Hello, welcome back to my channel if you're new here. My name is Mary and today's video is going to be my April TBR, or more specifically, my Magical Readathon TBR for the spring equinox. If you are new around here, then you will not know this, but if you are a returning viewer, welcome back, hello. I have not posted a video since February. I had some issues with some editing software, and then I ended up getting a new phone and I film on my phone. So I just decided to sort of scrap the things that I had and take a little bit of a break. I was also getting kind of burnt out and work was getting really stressful. So I am back to making videos. I'm only promising one video a week going forward. I was previously promising 2 videos a week, and then I was barely meeting that goal and getting really frustrated with myself. So I think I've decided to officially go down to 1 video a week. This video is going to be my TBR for the spring equinox for the Magical Readathon, which is a month-long readathon hosted by G from Book Roast. And she used to do a Harry Potter themed readathon with all the stuff coming out about J.K. Rowling. She has changed it to her own magical readathon where you go to this school called Orilium. So it's sort of similar in concept to a Hogwarts themed readathon, but she invented literally all of it. So it's very impressive. I will link her videos down below. And I do have a vlog coming up. I'm currently vlogging myself making my character that I'm trying to finish before April starts so that I can have a character good to go. Because this is kind of like a D&D type role-playing scenario where you create your character and then your character goes through this world, which is just super fun. It's a very fun element to it. So I'm currently doing that portion of it. I will link, again, G's videos so she can explain it better. But I am in the process of creating a character. And then once my character is fully created, you will see that in the vlog that is upcoming if you watch it. And then I actually have picked my major, if you will, or a career path. That's how she divides it out. And then there are certain classes that you have to take to meet your career path. And then each class has its own prompt that you pick a book based on. And you are not allowed to double up prompts. So each prompt can only go for 1 book. I think I'm explaining that all correctly. That's how I understand the rules. I don't know a ton about this readathon outside of that, but again, I will link G's videos. She also has like Google Drives and stuff. So if you want to figure out more about this, I would direct you there because I'm not going to be a good person to answer questions, if that makes sense. So I have decided that my character is going to be pursuing the career of a Feywild cartographer, and I can read you really quickly what that career entails. So a Feywild cartographer, it says, I need to make the font bigger actually because I'm blind. It says the Feywild is a recently discovered realm and urgently needs mapping. This is the Feywild cartographer's prime concern. While it may sound a simple task, the Feywild is not a simple place. The forests change to match your mood, growing darker and barren as you tire, and then bursting with life as your energy lifts. The flow of rivers can change directions. Mountains rearrange themselves while you sleep. It is a tricky and challenging place to understand. Then there are the Fae themselves, beautiful, mercurial, deadly. Their magic is odd and unknown to fellows of Aeldia. Whilst not every Fae you encounter will be hostile, those who are not will often have a hidden motive, which will most likely come at the cost of your well-being. Fae will often act in ways they will later label as favors, and the next thing you know, you are in their debt. The level of cautiousness needed when traveling this realm is above anything mages have ever known. For this reason, cartographers are never sent out alone. A team of abjurers, spell swords, healers, and rift architects accompanies them. Because of the perils they face, there is often a sense of camaraderie between those who adventure in this strange realm together. Along with mapping the terrain, cartographers will also catalog its flora and fauna. If there are elements beyond their knowledge, then they need to accompany herbologists and beastmasters on future expeditions. No other career has such a high level of discovery. With so much exploration to do, Feywild cartographers are on the frontier of a new chapter in magic. And so it says the key traits are dexterous, curious, careful, and attentive. So I'm going to go ahead and say that my character is those things, even though I haven't fully created my character yet. But this is the one that I thought was fun, so this is what I'm going to do. I also liked these prompts the best. That's why I picked this one. So the classes that I have to take in the spring are elemental studies, shapeshifting, animal studies, astronomy, alchemy, inscription, and demonology. And in the fall, I have to get an O in elemental studies, animal studies, astronomy, alchemy, demonology, and I have to get a Q in inscription. I've never participated in this readathon before, so I'm not fully sure what the different, like O versus Q, I don't know which one's harder. So we'll find out, I guess. I could have found that out before this, but I did not. So that is the character that is the career that I am pursuing. And now I'm just going to get into the books that I'm reading for each of those prompts. So for the class Alchemy, the prompt was a book with a metal in the name. And for this, I'm going to be reading City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the first in a, I think it's Middle Eastern inspired or Egyptian, yeah, it's an ancient Cairo. So it's Egyptian inspired mythology based fantasy series. This is a YA series. I don't know that much about it. I know that it's about a girl who cons people into spending money on like either magical cures or regular cures, and and in doing this, one day she accidentally summons a real djinn and has to figure out how to get out of this mess. There's probably a romantic element in this because there seems to be a romantic element in a lot of YA fantasy, which is something that I actually really enjoy. I go back and forth on YA in general, but I feel like now is a good time for me to read this because I'm more willing at this point in my life to read a book like this than I have been for the last couple of months to couple of years, honestly. So I'm excited to read this. I know everyone was obsessed with it not that long ago. It is over 500 pages, which does make me a little nervous because I have been kind of slumping, but I'm sure that my library has an audiobook of this that I can use to get through some of it a little faster because I've been having a hard time sitting down and physically reading things for the last couple of months, honestly. The next prompt that I have is to do a coin flip, and if it lands on heads, then I read a nonfiction book, and if it lands on tails, I read a fiction book. So I have to actually find a coin because I forgot that this was one of the prompts. Hold on. Okay, so I actually found this coin. It's from a bar/arcade that I go to sometimes, and it's the first coin that I found, so I'm gonna use this. But heads, I'm gonna say, is the word up, down, and tails is gonna be this double arrow thing. I don't know if this works, but beauty gurus used to do this back in the day to focus things. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip this, and I will show you what it lands on. Tails, which I believe is fiction. So I will be reading a fiction book for this prompt. In an attempt to make this a TBR I can actually get through, I picked a very short book. I picked The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, which is supposedly the first book where time travel ever appeared. It's very short. It's less than 100 pages, so hopefully I can get through this in like an afternoon or something. And it's about a narrator on an incredible journey that eventually takes him to the Earth's last moments. So, I'm excited to read this. I bought this from a used bookstore not that long ago, and I'm ready to get through it. For the astronomy class, the prompt is a book with 2 E's in the title, so not including author's name. And for this, I'm going to be reading Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This is a classic. I don't actually know that much about what it is about. It says, the aromatic fumes of a lover's poison lead the way into the story of an unrequited love that survives 51 years, 9 months, and 4 days. Florentino Ariza, a man with the soul of a poet and the patience of a saint, has waited more than half a century for his love, the beautiful and naturally haughty Fermina Daza, since she revoked her promise to be his wife and married one of their city's wealthiest men, Dr. Juvenal Urbino, instead. The half-century is filled with encounters and travel, births, deaths, and poetry, as Fermina Daza and Dr. Urbino build their life together, creating a love based on shared experience. Florentino Ariza builds his own life, remaining loyal to Fermina Daza in his heart, if not exactly faithful, succumbing to 622 long-term liaisons. But it is only when Dr. Urbino finally dies that Florentino Ariza's real life begins. So, I've heard things about this. I don't know if they are good or bad things, but this is a book that I've always heard about. I've never read. I would like to read. And so I'm finally putting it on a list. Also, the buzzword this month. I haven't mentioned this yet. I've been trying to do the buzzwordathon, and I've successfully done it every month. I have not successfully vlogged it every month. And this month again, I probably will not vlog it because this I'm reading for a different vlog, which will be the vlog that I'm doing for this whole readathon. But love is an emotion or a feeling, and I'm pretty sure this month's buzzword prompt is like something to do with emotions and feelings. So love is what I'm going to use for that. And that fulfills my buzzword prompt. I'm very excited about that. Okay, sorry for the delay. You didn't see a delay. This just went very fast for you. The next class that I have to take is demonology, and the prompt for that one is to read a book that is compared to your favorite. So what I did for this prompt is I went through all of the books that I read in 2022 on Goodreads, and Goodreads has a section called Readers Also Enjoyed. I know this is not exactly what the prompt is asking, but I felt like that would be the most efficient way for me to do this. I'm also, if you've been here before, you already know this. If you have not, I'm trying to read through my physical TBR at the moment. All of the books on this top shelf are my physical TBR. So I've been going through these books while I'm sitting here because I forgot to do this prompt beforehand, and trying to find a book that was in the Readers Also Enjoyed section for a book that I loved last year that I owned. And I came across Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane, which is under the Readers Also Enjoyed for A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCrate, which obviously I read and gave 5 stars in 2022. So this is a mystery thriller. I got it from Half Price Books, obviously. And this says, shouldn't a dead husband stay dead? Lila Ridgefield lives in an idyllic college town, but not everything is what it seems. Lila isn't what she seems. A student vanished months ago. Now Lila's husband, Aaron, is also missing. At first, these cases are treated as horrible coincidences until it's discovered that the next class that I have to take and pass is Elemental Studies, and the prompt for that is a book with flowers on the cover. I have several options for this, so I think I'm just gonna let myself mood read when it comes down to it, but I have Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. And this, as you can see, has like a field that he's walking through with yellow flowers in it. Then I also have Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, and there are flowers in the front garden here that she is standing in. This is a classic, and I think this is considered a modern classic, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be in the mood for either of these, but the other option that I have is Unsheltered by Barbara Kingsolver. Again, there is a flower on the cover here, and again, I have read from Barbara Kingsolver before. I read the Poisonwood Bible by her, and then I read another one. I can't remember what it's called. I can never remember what it's called, but I really, really loved that book when I read it way back in the day. So I'll try to put a picture of it on the screen if I can remember what it's called. But all 3 of these books are options that I'm going to hold for this. If you have read any of these books and you think that I should prioritize one versus the others, feel free to let me know in the comments, but these are my options for flowers on the cover. The next prompt that I have is to read a book from the top shelf. It's for Inscription, and the prompt is literally read a book from the top shelf, which is so perfect for me because, as I mentioned, all of the books that I own and have not read yet are right here on this top shelf. So I'm just going to pick one and go with that for this prompt. And I think I'm going to go back to trying to help myself out this month, and I'm going to pick Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker. I still haven't read the sequel to Middle Game, but Middle Game was one of my favorite books that I read in 2020. I think it was my favorite book that I read in 2020, and I want to reread it at some point. I got it. I bought a copy or was gifted a copy. I put it on my wish list for Christmas and my birthday that year because I wanted to reread it, and I still have not done so. But this is the short story. A. Deborah Baker is actually Shauna McGuire. It's a pen name, and this is a children's book that is interspersed in Middle Game. And I haven't read Seasonal Fears yet either, so I'm hoping that this will get me back in the mood to read Middle Game. I can reread Middle Game, and then I can read Seasonal Fears, which is the continuation of that storyline. I don't think they're direct sequels, but I do think the characters from Middle Game play a part in Seasonal Fears. I honestly have heard bad things about Seasonal Fears, but since reading and loving Middle Game, I've heard bad things about that too, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping Seasonal Fears works for me, but I don't know if that will be the case. So this is what I'm going to read for Top Shelf Pick, and this was gifted to me by my good friend Amanda at her Pacific Northwest Washington Life. She does not post any more videos on YouTube, but we used to do the live shows together for the Jane Austen Book Club that I hosted in 2021, which was a long time ago. But Amanda, if you're watching this, thank you so much for giving me this, and I'm finally going to read it. The next class that I have to pass is Shapeshifting, and for this, I have to read a book with a wolf on the cover, title, or in the author's name. And for this, I've chosen Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. Is that who wrote that book? Yeah, Marlon James. This is another first in a fantasy series. I honestly have been waiting for the 3rd book to come out because I think it's just a trilogy, but each book has a lot of time in between it, But going through like the books that I want to read on Goodreads, this was one that I wanted to read for a really long time, and I saw that the audiobook is available from my library. It is 26 hours long, so hopefully I am able to finish it in one go from the library, but that is what I'm planning on reading for this prompt. I don't know anything about what it's about, but I also don't own it to read the back cover of it. I could look it up, but I'm okay with going in blind, so hopefully you are too. And that's the book that I'm going to read for the shapeshifting prompt. That is the last of the classes that I have to take and pass for this readathon. So those are the 7 books that I'm promising that I'm going to read this month. I hopefully will read a little bit more than that, but I'm going to give myself some space to mood read as well, because that has been very helpful for me in this very slumpy time. But in the comments below, let me know if you are participating in this readathon. If you are, what your career is going to be for the spring semester and what you are planning on reading. Also, don't forget to let me know if you have any thoughts on the 3 books that I mentioned for my flowers on the cover prompt. And also, of course, as always, let me know if you've read any of these books and how you felt about them if you have. And hopefully I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye!